Okay, welcome everyone. Antonella, are you going to introduce me or am I introducing myself? No, I'm introducing myself. My name is Alex Williams. I'm the head of animation at Escape Studios. And this is a webinar about finding work in the animation industry. So I'm going to go ahead and I hope you can all see me. Can everyone see me? I'm just going to click on the chat and in the Q&A. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the Q&A open during the course of this talk. And if you've got questions, I'll obviously answer them at the end, but I'm also happy to answer questions if they're relevant as they come up while we're chatting about jobs during the animation boom. And there is an animation boom going on right now, but that doesn't mean that everyone in the animation industry can get a job. You've still got to be really, really good at what you do. And so that's why I wanted to run this webinar, was so that we could talk about how you find work and how you make sure that your demo reel works and how you land that crucial first job in the industry, even at a time when the industry is expanding rapidly. So what I'm going to do is share my screen and share my desktop. And I've got some slides here. And I'll be kind of flipping between my slides and also the my animation blog at Escape Studios, which is really a useful resource in terms of finding work. I've got lots and lots of jobs resources there. So I'll be flipping between the slides and that. So finding work in an animation boom. Now, is there an animation boom going on? There is. It's 2021, and you would think that because of COVID and lockdown and all of these problems that we've been facing for the last 18 months, that the animation industry would be suffering like other industries have been suffering. But in fact, this is not the case. And in the beginning, we thought that this was just because of the problems with locking down, with live action being shut down, because live action was shut down in March 2020. And there weren't any opportunities to shoot live action. So as a result, the animation industry picked up a lot of the slack. And so we kind of expected that to taper off as live action came back on stream, but it really hasn't. And a lot of companies, particularly in the UK, have expanded a lot. Production is up a lot. And they're also hiring more UK talent, which we'll come to in a minute. But just to talk about some of the companies that are hiring right now, Blue Zoo is expanding rapidly. They've hired a bunch of our graduates from Escape Studios in the last few. Let's see, if I go to the blog and if I search for success stories and I just scroll down. Oh yeah, Aardman are hiring for Paper Pop City, which is an Aardman spin-off. MPC are hiring. They just picked up one of our graduates, Nicole Isarudin, who's very produced a lot of animation projects at Escape Studios. Rasul Edgy, Lucy Harris has gone to Blue Zoo. And if I click on that, that should give me a link to some other escapees. Yeah. So a bunch of people, we've had 4 just in February, in 2021 alone, and then a bunch recently. If you want to find this link, by the way, you just go to the animation blog and you just click on success stories, and it will give you a useful sense of where people are going at the moment and what kind of jobs they're making it into. So if I just go back to my slides, MPC are hiring in particular MPC episodic. I don't know much about what that is, but I assume that's TV series or web series. ILM are hiring. We're getting students into ILM at the moment. Framestore are hiring, Technicolor are hiring, and those are just some of the big names. There are a slew of smaller companies, less well-known companies that are also looking to hire people at the moment. And I'm guessing that most of our students, and in particular, are the sort of those who voted in the Brexit referendum in 2016 probably didn't vote for Brexit. That's what I'm going to guess, that most of our students were not in the demographic that voted for Brexit. And it is one of the great ironies of life that Brexit is now delivering some benefits to our students, because the big British animation companies used to recruit a lot of their fresh talent from French schools in particular, and also schools in Denmark and Germany. And though that route is now not closed off to them, but it is much less attractive than it used to be because of the end of freedom of movement within the European Union. So why we might feel sad about Brexit in many ways, it is bringing some benefits to our students, as long as they have the right skills and the right abilities. So here we go. Here's my checklist. This is what I'm going to run through over the next 25 minutes, and then I'll take questions. 10 steps to land your first job. And these are, we could come up with a, variable list of 10 things, or it could be 12, or it could be 8, or it could be 9. But I think these are more or less the 10 things that you need to do in order to land your first job. So number 1 is get good at what you do. Number 2 is to polish your demo reel. Number 3 is to be easy to find. Number 4, make sure you've got a good CV. Number 5, sign up for those job alerts. Number 6 is you've got to apply. This might be an obvious one, but you'd be surprised how many people don't. Number 7 is to be the rhino and get that rejection is normal, and just learn to put up with it. And then work your connections, get ready for interview, and do not give up. So those are my 10 steps. So let's go through them individually. Right, get good at what you do. Now, obviously, that's what you come to Escape Studios to do. You come to learn stuff and learn animation and get really good at it. And you're going to do that in the course of your coursework. And we will set you exercises to do, and you will do those exercises, and you will get feedback, and you will refine your work, and you will get better. But there's also an expectation that you're going to do some stuff on your own time as well. And in particular, after the course, when you sit down and you look at your demo reel and you think, well, I've got some great shots in there, but I think I need a bit more. There are some simple ways that you can work on your stuff to make it better. And one thing I'd like to focus on is our Vimeo tutorials. And so I'm going to go back to the blog here now. And I'm going to click on this link here, Vimeo. And if you click on that, you will find the Escape Studios Vimeo tutorial channel. Now, these tutorials are all for our students. They're all password protected. But if you send me a message, if you're one of our currently enrolled students or a recent graduate, I will send you the password. And this Aladdin's Cave will be opened up to you. And there are just tons of stuff here. We've got animation basics. We've got the bouncing ball. We've got different versions of the bouncing ball. We've got the Luxo lamp hop. We've got walks. We've got character walks. Different character walks from different tutors. Amanda Costa, stuff from me. Mark Stevenson, all kinds of material from different tutors who put a slightly different spin on the animation process. And so what you can do is just go through these things. And if you've got, if it's a rainy Sunday afternoon and you've got a couple of hours, just do a tutorial and just learn. There you go. There's one on blend shapes. We have so many tutorials now. And getting a nice walk cycle, getting a nice run cycle on your reel, these are all good things to have. And so I highly recommend going through our stuff and just filling in any of the gaps that are in your reel. If there's stuff you don't really feel you've polished enough, you can go back and do a video tutorial and add it to your reel. Another way that you can get good at what you do is by collaborating on short films. Now, we make a lot of short films at Escape Studios. These are group projects. They're going on all the time, not so much now during the summer. There's a little bit of a lull, but actually, even as I say that, I'm pretty sure that Lee Caller, who teaches our short course, I'm pretty sure that Lee has got a project starting up pretty soon. And we're always looking for animators who want to take a shot. So I highly recommend volunteering for some of these. So again, if I go back to the blog and I just go up and click on Showcase, I can show you some of the recent projects. So there's Side Quest that was made by some of the third year students, Beauty of Nature, The Crash, Candlewick, Amarok. We had a bunch of different people volunteering for this. And Amarok is now a double award winner. It's actually, it's won a couple of awards and festivals. And I won't play the whole thing here. I'll let you guys watch it in your own time. But it's a really nice trailer about a First Nations police detective living in northern Canada. And the story is about a mysterious killer wolf that is on the loose. And it's just a short piece of work. It's just 2 minutes long, but it's really, really nicely done. And, getting people to help out with these shorts allows you to get work on your demo reel, and then you can also get an IMDb profile. For example, Shanaz Suleiman, who directed it, if I click on the link there, it'll take us to her IMDb profile. She's only in her second year of studies at Escape Studios, but she's already got credits on 2 films that are listed at the IMDb. And right now it says just no wins and 1 nomination, but that is being updated all the time. And the awards take a while to update at IMDb, but it has now won 2 awards, and so she'll be showing up as a double award-winning director at IMDb. So that's a way that we can add value at Escape Studios. It's a way that you can help yourself by getting a shot that has a professional look and feel about it when you're cutting your demo reel. Another way that you can get really great work for your reel is by entering the 11-second club. It takes place every month, and on the first day of every month, you get a line of dialogue, and you can enter the competition. And then by the end of the month, you submit your work. And it's a good way of pushing yourself to develop a nice character piece, because that's very much the kind of work that you want to have on your reel, especially if you're applying for a studio like Blue Zoo or MPC Episodic, where they're doing character performance work, in this case on TV shows. The 11-second club is a really great training for that. And then, of course, you've just got to keep practicing. So once you've done that, once you've got a bunch of shots, you're going to pull them together for your demo reel. And I've put down a few rules here of demo reels. The first one of which is only show your best work. Don't show work in progress. Don't show stuff that isn't complete. You just upload your best shots. And also, obviously, make sure that it's only your work. So you're not including other people's work. And if there's a shot that you collaborated on a feature film or on a group project, you want to add words to the effect of, that you did the foreground characters or not the background characters or something of that nature, so that you're not claiming credit for anything that anyone else has done. You want it to be free of mistakes. You should keep it short. The student reel should be about a minute long. Try and avoid going much longer than that. Most studios will make their mind up within probably the first 10 or 20 seconds. So you want your best work up front. When I say make their mind up, they'll start to form a view quite quickly based on the work that they're looking at. And a minute is really enough to get a feeling for what your reel is like. One thing that's important is to make sure that your contact details are up there at the front and the back of your reel, which is all about being easy to find, which we're going to come to in the next slide in a little bit more detail. Please don't password protect your reel. You might think that when you send your password to a studio, that password will make it through to the person who's reviewing reels, but there's always a risk that they won't get the password and they won't be able to see your reel. And at that point, they're moving on to the next candidate. And remember, finally, that your demo reel is always a work in progress. Your demo reel is never done as such. You're always working on it. And you're going to have an edit in Premiere where you're adding new shots and you're taking out old shots, particularly as you collaborate on professional work. You're going to start updating your student work with professional shots and start to lose some of the early stuff that you did in the beginning. So rule number 3, be easy to find. Nowadays, this means being at LinkedIn. So I've included the LinkedIn profile from one of our students, Martin Kaminga at Escape Studios. This is a very nice LinkedIn profile. He's got some still images from the stuff he's worked on at Escape Studios. Nice picture of him. And nowadays, you can actually also add a little green banner here on your profile picture, which says available for work. And then you can also say, your LinkedIn profile when you're available for work, because animation recruiters live at LinkedIn. And when I say live there, they mean that's their primary resource for finding people, and also checking on who's available and who isn't. And if your LinkedIn profile shows that you are available for work on such and such a date, this is a huge help for recruiters, because producers are always looking for not just for the right talent, but for the right talent that's available at the right time. So if your LinkedIn profile says, well, I'm in work now, but I'm available from, say, September 1st, that's really, really helpful for anyone who's recruiting on September 1st. The other thing that we recommend at Escape Studios is to have your own website or blog. So in this case, I've put down here www.joeanimator.com. It's good to have your own name in the URL. So in my case, it's alexwilliams.com. But if you have your name there, then it gives you good SEO, search engine optimization. So that if a recruiter or a producer is looking for you, let's say they Google Martin Kuminga animation, if Martin's website is martinkuminga.com or a variation of that, then it's going to have better SEO and it will pop up when they search for him. But if he calls his website something like, funkypanda.com, then no one's going to be searching for that. So his SEO will be less good, and it's less easy to find his website if they Google it. It's also good to be on Vimeo and YouTube, Instagram, all these other things. The key message is be easy to find. Right. And here's an example of a nice website, a very simple animation website by Scottish animator Brendan Boddy. And it's just really, really nice, simple website, easy to use, easy to find his stuff. Any producer or recruiter is going to be able to find his demo reel very, very quickly. They're going to find his animation. They're going to find his CV, his blog if they're interested, but they probably won't be. They just want to know, is his show reel suitable for the film that they're hiring for? So being easy to find and having your show reel easy to find is really, really helpful when it comes to matching your talents up with a recruiter. So rule number 4, polish your CV. Now, this has become a lot easier because LinkedIn, in a way, does it for you. So when you build your LinkedIn profile, you're going to have all your jobs listed at LinkedIn. But a CV is still a really useful thing to do. The important thing is to keep it short. Don't write a 10-page CV. No one will read it. Keep the jobs relevant. The fact that you did a barista job in Milan in 2018 really isn't going to help you very much. If you've got animation internships, anything animation related, that's what you want to put on your CV, and also make it look a little bit nice. You're a graphic artist, so you can download a stylish template from the web and use one of the templates out there, so it doesn't look just like a boring, plain old Word document. Okay, so rule number 5: sign up for job alerts. Now, this is really important. I'm personally signed up with animationjobs.com, or is it animatedjobs.com, or are they perhaps different or the same? I'm not 100% sure, but I sign up for all of these things. You can also follow the companies at Twitter. If you follow Framestore, MPC, Aardman at Twitter, you will get first dibs on their jobs, because they often tweet their jobs and then they will take down the tweet like 2 days later. So you want to follow them in your Twitter feed, and try not to, try and declutter your Twitter feed so that you're only following the companies that you're interested in, and you're not following all the ranty people who are offering you their unpleasant views on politics or whatever it is that people drone on about at Twitter. That you're just using Twitter as a business tool in order to find out the latest news on the latest jobs, and be ready to go when these jobs come up, because they tend to go fast. So animationjobs.com, Twitter, and also LinkedIn. You're gonna see people are hiring at LinkedIn now increasingly. We're looking for an animation tutor at Escape Studios now, and that job was posted at LinkedIn. And that's how we find an awful lot of talent now. So you've got to sign up for the alerts and check them every day. All right, now rule number 6: apply. You've got to apply for a lot of jobs. Lots of people make the mistake, they apply for 1 or 2 jobs, they don't get them, and then they're all disappointed. You need a kind of scattergun, blunderbuss. I've got a picture of a blunderbuss here. an old-fashioned inaccurate weapon, which maybe fires grape shot, and you just got to apply for a lot. Apply for a dozen studios, apply for a dozen more, rinse and repeat. They used to say at Disney, back when I worked at Disney in the 90s, and it was a commonly repeated saying that Disney would only hire you on the second application. Didn't matter how talented they were, they would reject you the first time around because they wanted to know, and I don't know if it's really true or not, but this is what people said, they wanted to know that you really, really, really wanted to work for Disney, that it was your life's ambition. And if you didn't have the heart to come back at them a second time, they weren't interested. So they're looking for a certain commitment and a certain stick-to-itness. And someone who keeps coming back with a better demo reel each time is an interesting person, because that person has resilience, that person has a bit of steel in their core, that person isn't too upset by rejection, because you're going to get a lot of rejection in the course of your career. And that person is going to be tough and will be the stuff that a good animator is made of. Rule number 7, be the rhino. And this is a really tough one because, you're going to get rejected a lot. I speak from personal experience. I used to joke that I could paper the walls of my loo with rejection letters. But I can't even do that anymore because you don't even get a rejection letter. The days when you actually got a piece of paper which somebody had signed in blue ink saying, "I'm very sorry, but your application has been unsuccessful." Those days are gone. You just don't hear anything. So you've got to be the rhino. This is a picture of a rhino by Albrecht Dürer, the great German engraver. You'd actually never seen a rhino before, so it's pretty cool. This was just based on descriptions. And what you want to take from rejection is, okay, how can I do it better next time? Do I need to work on my demo reel? Maybe my demo reel wasn't sufficiently targeted for the company. So for example, maybe, if you've got a lot of really cartoony animation on your reel and you're applying for Framestore, then maybe that's not a good fit, because Framestore tend to do visual effects work. Although actually they did Tom and Jerry. So, it varies a lot, but you kind of want to know what it is that you're applying for and tailor your reel for that job. But don't take it personally. Rejection is normal and common. And I mean, when I say don't take it personally, I know you're going to take it personally anyway. I'm not going to stop you from taking it personally, because we do take it personally. It's impossible or hard not to know that you were passed over. But a professional journey in the entertainment industry is going to involve a lot of rejection, not because your work is bad, not because you're not good enough, but because it's all about fit. The company is looking for a certain fit. They're looking for a certain style of animation, and your demo reel will either be that style or it won't. And if you think animators have it bad, try being an actor, because it's way worse for them. They've got to be not just really good at their craft, but they've got to look the part. They've got to look like what's in the director's head or the casting director's head for the part. And they're always either too short or too tall or too wide or too narrow or too fat or too thin or too blonde or too not, or whatever it is. And to some degree, it's the same for animators. But you can always find out, you can ask contact the company and ask them, what didn't you like about my reel? They might not reply, but on the other hand, they might reply and they might give you a good answer. And that can be really good information on what to do for next time. So rule number 8, work your connections. Ask your friends who is hiring. And this can be really important, because when you graduate from a place like Escape Studios, you join thousands of other escapees working in the animation and visual effects industry. And they will know what the word on the street is. I often hear from escapees that such and such a company is hiring long before it makes it onto Twitter or LinkedIn. Because you've got to remember, there's a gap in all companies. A company needs bodies for a job. And the first people who hear about it are the other animators on the shop floor, because they're going to say, "We need more animators. Do you guys know of anyone?" And then they're going to go to HR and they're going to say, oh, HR, we need to put out a job interview, an interview for jobs. And then HR is going to say, oh, well, can you fill out this form so that we know what kind of skills you're looking for? And then they're going to, then they're going to have a meeting about it. And then the meeting is going to get postponed because someone's sick and they're on holiday. And then they've got to go through their corporate processes. And, it can take forever just to get the advert out there. But the animators working on the show, they're going to know about it long before the advert hits the wires. So if you know those animators, if you keep in touch with them, at LinkedIn or through Facebook classrooms or whatever it is, whatever social media you're using to keep in touch with people, then that can be a really, really powerful tool for recruitment. And people will say, animation supervisors will go to the animation floor and they say, hey, you got any friends from college? Have you got anyone good? And they'll say, yeah, I worked with people who are really good. I'll see if they're available. So that's a really, really good way to get started, is by keeping in touch with your alumni group. And it's the alumni groups at Escape Studios are very, very powerful. When I say we have thousands of people, it could be we've been in the business now for 15 years. So say, 500 people a year going into the industry, you're getting on for 7,500 people maybe working in the animation and visual effects industries, just from Escape Studios alone. So do not neglect your alumni networks. Now get ready for interview. Tip number 9. Now, when you get called in for interview, and by the way, nowadays most interviews are remote, obviously. So you're not going to likely get called in, but it's going to be a Zoom call or a G-Meet or something of that nature. At this stage, that the company already really likes your reel, right? So they are already inclined to hire you. The interview process is now really just to see if you have horns and a tail, largely. So the interview is now yours to lose. And I did a blog post a while back, actually, about how to blow a job interview. Let's see if I can get back to the let's just go to the search bar at the how to blow a job interview. There's lots and lots of really helpful resources at the blog. So let's see. There we go. 9 simple ways to blow a job interview. Number 1, turn up late. A lot of this is based on my personal experience of having people both being interviewed and interviewing people. 1, turn up late. I remember once it was actually interviewing a student for a place, not at Escape Studios, but somewhere else. And the student was 25 minutes late, and they spent then they kept me waiting for 10 minutes while they chatted to their boyfriend on the phone. I did not recruit that student. Number 2, show no interest in the job. Number 3, fail to do any research about the company. You really, really do want to know what the company does. So if you've got a job interview at Framestore or something like that, find out what they've done lately. If you're being interviewed at Blue Zoo, find out what they've done lately. Have a look at the work, and be knowledgeable about the work that's come out, so that you can talk with some kind of, so when they say to you, which they might well do, what's your favorite thing that our company has done? You're not just left there going, blah, 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 I don't know, did you work on Kung Fu Panda? Was that you? And then they go, no, that was DreamWorks. And suddenly, you're not looking very good. So you've got to Google it. And if you can, and you might not be able to, but if you can, find out who's interviewing you. Because you can then look them up at IMDb and find out what they've worked on. So, and then the fact that you've done some research will impress them. If you walk into an interview and the person interviewing you, and what they've worked on, and what the shows were at the company that they worked on, and you can talk about that work, they are going to be impressed by that, because it shows it shows that you've done your homework, and that you actually care a little bit about that company and what they've done. Here's another thing, is to talk about yourself a lot. Don't be rude. Try to avoid criticizing your current employer. Don't air your dirty laundry in public. And also another big no-no in an interview is talk about money. Money is for later down the line. That's probably a conversation you're going to have with HR. And of course, you do have to do at some point, you've got to talk about money, but it's typically not a first interview. And the person interviewing you probably won't know, because that's more an HR question. An animation supervisor is not likely to know what you're going to be paid. And, be a bit modest. So that was a thing I did a while back, just based on some common errors. But you do want to be interested in the job, sound keen, and don't complain. There's just on this next slide, just think of it from the studio's point of view. What are they looking for? They're looking for someone who has obviously skill and talent, someone who's got to fill the role. But they want someone who's going to be enthusiastic and potentially willing to work long hours. Now, it's a little bit different now because everyone's working remotely, but at some point, it's likely that we'll be back in the studio, because animation is very collaborative, and we'll be back working in the building. And you want to work with people who are nice to get along with and easygoing, and don't spend all their time moaning about the project, and good to work with. Right, finally. Oh no, wait a minute, that was number 9, wasn't it? Yeah, sorry, there's a mistake there. Number 10, rule number 10, don't give up. So this is a little bit like Be the Rhino. This is really just, you just got to keep at it. And also bear in mind that, if you're applying for jobs and you're not getting them, you try and figure out what the reason is. So I had a student recently who said, I've been applying and I'm not getting work. And I had a look at their demo reel, and they actually didn't have a demo reel. They had a website with 4 or 5 shots, which were sort of uploaded singly at the website. And you don't really want to do that, because you've got to make it easy for people. The whole point of a reel is it's a single video that encapsulates your best work. So that's what you want. You want one video, one video with your best work on it. Often another student who was saying that they were having trouble finding work, I had a look at their reel, and I knew that this student had done some really, really nice shots, in particular on some group projects that we'd done, but they hadn't put those shots on their reel. They had a bunch of early stuff that wasn't by any means their best work. And they'd left off much of their best work for reasons that were, basically irrelevant, because there was a sort of a pixel in the corner that wasn't perfect, or something like that. And, there are ways of getting around these things. And one of them is to keep in touch with your tutor. So for SKPs, that's me, or Michael Davis, or Mark Stevenson, or Amadeo Beretta, or Lee Caller, or any of the very talented tutors working at Escape Studios. Keep in touch, show us your demo reel, and say, I'm not finding work. Can you help me with my reel? Can you help tell me why? And then we're going to ask you questions like, well, send me a link to your website or blog. And if you say, I haven't got one, that's a clue, maybe that something's not working. Or I might say, well, show me your LinkedIn profile. And if you say I haven't got one, then I know you're in trouble. Or if you show me your LinkedIn profile and you're just using the default banner at LinkedIn, you haven't customized your banner. I'm already thinking, well, if you can't be bothered to customize your banner, then what else have you not done? If your demo reel isn't embedded at LinkedIn, then I know something's wrong. Your demo reel needs to be embedded at LinkedIn. There are tutorials on the web that show you how to do that, so that someone finding you at LinkedIn can very quickly find your blog or website, very quickly find your demo reel, very quickly find your contact details, and then get in touch with you about any jobs that are going. So these are the sorts of things that we look for. And students who do these things, by the way, they all get hired. I can guarantee you, if you've got a good LinkedIn profile, you've got a good demo reel, which is easy to find, which doesn't have mistakes in it, which has got a nice character shot in it or two, which has got some nice work showing weight, flexibility, and is free of mistakes, you are going to find work. Because to come back to the original theme of this webinar, the industry is very busy right now. And all those studios who are used to going to French schools like Gobelin, like MPC, they are not going to those schools anymore, or at least they're going to them less. and they are coming to places like Escape Studios, and we are seeing much more interest than we have done in the past, specific interest in people from big companies approaching Escape Studios and saying, show us lists. We want to see portfolios of your best students. And of course, that has always happened, but it's happening now more than it has done in the past. And this is obviously really, really good for our students, because if you keep in touch with us, if you make sure that we can see your demo reel, and we can help guide you through this process of putting your best foot forward, then we know that we can link you up with the right recruiters and the right studios, because there's nothing that gives us more pleasure than finding our students work or helping our students to find work. And because that's what we're all about. That's what Escape Studios was founded to do. It was not founded as an art school. It was not founded for fine art. It was founded in order to get people work in the animation and visual effects industry. We've always been highly focused on the outcome, and that is jobs. So again, if you click on success stories, you know, one of the reasons that I blog regularly about our students who've just found work is because it's partly a discipline for me, so that I know who is in work, I know who isn't in work. And that means I can reach out to the people who haven't found work, and I can say, okay, show me your demo reel, show me your LinkedIn profile. Let's work together to make sure that you're going to go out there and find work in the industry. And let's find you the best fit. For example, Nicole Isarudin here, she's a really good animator, but she produced 4 award-winning short films at Escape Studios: Hotel Aloha, Little Gestures, Quarantine Chorus, and Mallow. She produced 4 films. So there was never really any doubt that Nicole was going to go in as a producer, and she started at MPC because she's done it 4 times. So, you know, before graduating, and by the way, Hotel Aloha was made in her 2nd year at Escape Studios. So she knows a thing or two about producing already. And so that's an easy win for us. If somebody comes to me and says, I'm looking for a production assistant, then I know exactly who to recommend. And also, you know, have a look at the jobs outside of pure animation. For example, Lucy Harris here, she's a 3D layout artist, which is basically camera and cinematography. We've got a lot of people working in 3D layout, in cinematography, particularly at there's Lydia's another person who went into production, particularly the 3rd floor, which has been hiring a lot of our talent recently. Shot creator at the 3rd floor, and the 3rd floor, they're a previs house, so they're really about cinematics. It's all about 3D layout and camera. And by the way, photography is a great hobby for any animator, because it really helps you to understand cinematography and camera. And actually, Sophia had done some work in photography before she came to Escape Studios. So that was already a skill that she was developing even before she came to us. And if I scroll down, Eduardo is at the 3rd floor, Daniel at Stargate, Emma Dienegg, you know, all kinds of stuff going on here. So it's a busy time for animation. Right, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop screen sharing, and I'm going to return to the normal screen view, and I'm just going to see if there are any questions in the Q&A, and I see there are, in fact, no open questions here. So if anyone has any questions on anything that I've said, then now is the time to speak up, or forever hold your peace. Otherwise, I will wrap it up and call it a day. So does anyone have any questions? Antonella, do you have any questions out there that I can't see? Anything that is coming in on your feed?
No, I can't see anything, but guys, if you have any question, please feel free to ask Alex to drop your question in the Q&A button, and we will answer it live. So that's your opportunity, so don't be shy.
Oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Anonymous attendee says, how can Escape Studios help international studios? Okay, so I'm not sure quite what you mean by, international students. Well, I mean, obviously by teaching and training, I mean, obviously finding work in the industry to some degree depends on your home market. So I was talking to a student in Argentina recently who was trying to make a living as an independent animated filmmaker in Argentina. And we talked a little bit about the industry there. And he said it's really very tough. There's not much of an animation industry going in Argentina. And at that point, you've really got two choices, which is either to, obviously you've got to learn the craft of animation, and then you've got to do remote working for one of the many studios that have remote workers, or you've got to emigrate. And I would recommend the second. You know, speaking personally, you know, my first animation job, my first job was on Who Framed Roger Rabbit. But after that, I went very shortly after that, a year later, I went to Germany. I worked in Munich for a summer working on an animated film out there. Then I worked in California on Lion King and Pocahontas. I've worked in Canada, multiple different places, Toronto, Vancouver. I worked in Tokyo on a Disney film. I mean, you should never be shy to get on a plane, pack your suitcase and go someplace. Apart from anything else, it's enormously good fun. You're going to learn so much. And so, you know, don't be afraid to move. You know, moving is exciting, thrilling, and you know, a good option. But the first thing you've got to do is get good enough, and that involves all the thing that I've talked about earlier on. Right, Jose asks, good examples of a good LinkedIn profile. Yeah, so I mean, so I think I showed a couple, but if I go to LinkedIn, let's go to my LinkedIn profile. Hold on, I've got to if I share my screen. So go back to screen sharing. Okay, so can you all see my LinkedIn? Yeah. So let's take Lucy Harris, for example, who recently found a job. So here we go, Lucy Harris. So there's Lucy's LinkedIn profile. So she's got a nice banner up there, custom banner, nice picture of Lucy. And then if we scroll down, she's got a little bit about herself. But look, there we go, link to her demo reel. So immediate link, Lucy Harris, animation, showing the software she's worked on. Then there's some other stuff and also her CV down there. So that's a good example. She says she's studied at Escape Studios. So the only thing she doesn't say is available for work, but that's because she's not. She's working at Blue Zoo at the moment. And so we know as a recruiter that she's not available for work. But if she was available for work, then it would say so. So that's an example of a good LinkedIn profile. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. Daria asks, do you know if the companies have any other interview requirements, like, for example, animation tests or time tests? Yes, some companies do. So sometimes, actually quite often, you will have to do an animation test. And I know in the past, for example, that Jellyfish have done that. Jellyfish, a very good company based in London, based in Brixton, and they do give people tests. So they'll give you like a 48-hour test. Because what they want to know is not just can you animate, but can you animate fast? And that's because they do TV series work where it's important to be both good and quick. So some companies will make you do a test. And, you know, it's like with anything, you'll get better at doing those tests the more you do them. But probably fewer companies are doing tests right now because they are all short of talent. They're short of skilled talent right now. Okay, so Ali Myers says, hey, Alex, thanks for your webinar. I'm just wondering if the demand for storyboarders is as big as animators. Do you see this demand continuing over the next few years? Yes, so absolutely. So we're always hearing about demand for storyboarders. And that's why we started the MA in storyboarding and pre-visualization a year or two ago, was precisely to fill that gap. Now, that you need fewer storyboard artists on a film than you do animators. So let's say on a typical animated feature film, you might need 40 or 50 animators, but you might only need 5 storyboard artists. So obviously there are fewer opportunities out there, but there are fewer people doing it. The trick with boarding is, again, you want to get a really nice reel going. If you look at some of the work done by our story and previous students, you know, it's all about putting together a really great reel. And also, again, you know, collaborating on short films so that you're making films which are getting turned into actual productions. And actually, most of our storyboard artists at Escape are sort of turning into directors, because they tend to, they storyboard these films, they do a storyboard animatic, and then those animatics tend to get made into little mini films. We're making loads of short films at the moment. So and storyboarding, you know, one of the best things about that job is it does tend to lead into directing. But yes, there is considerable demand. So Alp Yamanel says, he asks, how valuable is it to recruiters and employers that you've worked on a short film that's gone to festivals? So that's a good question. I mean, I would say as an employer, all you really want to know is, well, 2 things. First of all, you want to know, is somebody good? You know, are they a good animator? But secondly, you want to know, are they good at working in teams? We have a big focus at Escape Studios on working in team projects, studio projects, as we call them. And if you've worked in a group of people, then, you know, you start to understand how the group dynamics work. And the more short films you work on, the more you are going to overcome the inevitable disagreements, frustrations, and difficulties that come with managing groups of artists working together. It's not easy working in teams. I can tell you this from personal experience. You will often have conflicts with other group members, and figuring out how to resolve those conflicts in a way that keeps everybody happy, or at least speaking, and then hopefully friends at the end of the project, is an art in itself, and it's one that you need to learn. So working on group projects is really good because it helps you understand the process. It helps you take notes. It helps you make your work better. It helps you get work on your reel that also looks more polished and finished. Because when you do work on a short film, it's going to go through a process of lighting and texturing and rendering. So you end up with these hopefully beautiful shots on your demo reel that you probably wouldn't get if you were just doing animation tests on your own. So yes, I really recommend helping out on short film projects. And the only way really to do that is just to keep in touch with people like me and just say, you know, I'm available to help out on film projects if you need help. And then I can put you in touch with the film projects as they come up. Anonymous asks, do studios tend to recruit graduates at certain times of the year? The answer to that is not really, because it's very much based on the demand of the project. And that can be, projects just begin at any time. You just never really know. I mean, traditionally, there's sort of, you know, there are peak times in September and maybe in January, February. Everything slows down in August and over Christmas for obvious reasons. But there's no magic time. It just depends on the needs of the studio. Kirk Sylvester asks, in terms of show reels, is it best to keep a focused animated style, or is mixed media acceptable? Good question. So I think mixed media is acceptable, but be aware that if someone is recruiting, say, for a motion graphics job, that's a very different kind of style of animation compared to, say, visual effects or character animation. So I wouldn't mix your stuff up too much. I mean, I've seen animation reels which have a bit of live action, a bit of CG, a bit of stop motion, a bit of hand-drawn 2D animation, and that's really getting too much. Because again, you've got to think like a producer. Producers are looking for round pegs in round holes. So if you're a producer who's crewing up for a big TV series, and that's a 3D series, let's say it's Blue Zoo who are looking for animators for the latest series of Number Blocks, they're looking for 3D animators. The fact that you can do stop motion, they don't really care about that much. So you always want to tailor your reel for the job. you know, if you're applying for, and if you look at my website, you'll see I've got a visual effects reel, I've got a 2D animation reel, I've got a 3D animation reel. My reel, I mean, I'm not looking for work at the moment, obviously, but my reels are very much tailored for the needs of that particular studio. Right, here's a question from Ilmi. I've just completed a quadrupeds module 3 at Escape, and I enjoyed it, but I don't particularly think I want to become a quadrupeds animator, as I prefer character animation. My question is, should I include it in my show reel? Now, I think you absolutely can include it in your show reel, as long as it's good enough. And that comes back to the point about only include your best work. You know, particularly when you're starting out, you know, you're not likely to have that many really great shots in the beginning. And if you have done a great shot, then definitely include it and put it on your reel. And I do find that this often happens, that a student, I'll have a look at a student's reel, and I'll think, well, where's the, you know, I know they did a great shot on such and such a project, or I know they did a really nice quadruped walk, and they'll say, oh, well, I left it off because I'm not looking to get hired as a quadruped animator. And I'll think, yeah, but okay, but you know, if you did a really nice quadruped walk, include it, because animation recruiters and you know, supervising animators, they're looking for competence and capability, and also a breadth of ability. So they want to know, you know, can you do a walk cycle? Can you do a run cycle? You know, can you animate a character animation shot? They're looking for a range of ability. So it's always good to have a bunch of different things. And a walk cycle, you know, it might only be on your reel for a couple of seconds. It might literally, you'd show quadruped walk 1,000, 2, 1,000 cut, and that's it. But you show that you can do a quadruped walk, and it's only taken up 2 seconds of your reel. So yeah, that's great. Have it on your reel. Okay, we got a couple more questions here in the last 9 minutes. Hitam asks, you previously worked with Disney, which is great. Was it difficult to get a work visa? I heard that most companies don't like to bother with visa applicants. How was it for you? So Hitam, I'm afraid to disappoint you here. I have a dirty secret, which is that I am an American citizen. So that was through my mother. My mother was born in Virginia. And even though I don't sound American, because I went to an English boarding school where my American accent was not exactly beaten out of me, but I learned to conform age 13. So yeah, I have an American passport as well as a British one, and that meant that I didn't have any problems finding work in America. And that was, although when I worked for Disney the first time, it was in London on Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It was a UK studio. So there I needed obviously a British passport to work. But your work visas are difficult. There's no doubt about it. The problem is that there are no votes for politicians and jobs for foreigners. So in the same way that nobody ever voted for a politician in the UK who said, yay, let's bring all these foreigners over to work in our country, it's the same in America. And they make it just as difficult for Brits to work in the USA as we make it for Americans to come and work here. And that is unfortunately just one of the realities of politics, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. It's not impossible to get a visa. There is a green card lottery, which is definitely worth applying for. There are also cultural visas that you can apply for. I know some Scandinavians who've got work there from Denmark on a cultural visa. The idea is that you are culturally enriching the United States by your mere presence. It only works for some countries, not for the UK, I think, but I think it works for Ireland. But different countries have different rules. But you know, if you're in the European Union, obviously you've got the whole of the EU at your disposal. If you're in the UK, you've only got the UK, but you obviously the industry here is rapidly expanding. You know, it's growing like mad, and the studios are recruiting. It's much bigger than it used to be. So there are many good opportunities here in Britain right now. And last but not least, Anna asks, what qualifies you as a good animator? Now, that is a difficult question to ask, but a difficult question to answer. But I would say, if you look at the 12 principles of animation, that's a good starting point. But I guess it's just one of those things that you know it when you see it. If you look at a really great animation demo reel, you see the reel and you'll think, great, that was a really good reel. I want to hire that person. Or that reel has some nice things about it, but it's still got some problems. Maybe it's a bit floaty. Maybe it's a bit weightless. Maybe there's no character performance on it. That's quite a common thing. That's why I mentioned the 11-second club. Often I will see student reels that have got some great locomotion on there, some great mechanics, maybe some great pantomime, but there's no dialogue shot. And having a really nice, 11-second dialogue shot that really tackles character animation can be really important, depending, of course, on what you're applying for. But having a nice range of work can be really, really helpful. So here's we still got 5 minutes. Here's a question from Ilmi, who asks tips for escapees, personal individual project, final project, module 5, do's and don'ts. Okay, so the most common mistake with personal projects is to be too ambitious. And this is a mistake that I have made myself when I made my first animated short. It was, I think, 10 minutes long and it never got finished. So I am completely guilty of this mistake. And I understand why people make it, because you have all these ideas and you want to make it bigger, and you come up with all this great material and you want to throw it all in. Try and keep it short. If you're making a short film, make it short, make it a minute. You can tell a story in a minute. Shanaz's, that little trailer, Amarok, that's winning prizes, that's 2 minutes long. Don't be, keep it less than that. Anything over 2 minutes is starting to get really, really super ambitious for a group project. If it's your own personal work, stick to 11 seconds. If it's just you, take the 11-second club as a template, and you might work for 3 or 4 weeks on that one shot, but make it a really great shot, really knock it out of the park. Yeah, that's my top tip, is keep it short and make it appealing, and also remember, the animation industry is still about family entertainment. You'd be surprised how many people include, swearing or adult material or naked people. Really try and avoid that, because the chances are you're going for a company like Blue Zoo or Disney or DreamWorks that does family entertainment, and that's the kind of thing that they're looking for. Max asks, I've been applying for jobs and internships over the last 4 years with no success. One of the biggest barriers is lack of commercial experience. What's your advice on getting commercial experience? So this is a kind of a catch-22. But if you're not, I'd say, after this is over, send me an email. I'll put my email address in the chat and I'll take a look at your reel. There's probably a problem with your reel. If you've been applying for 4 years and you're not getting any bites, it's probably because your reel isn't there, or something like that. I haven't seen what you're doing, but that's the most likely thing, that your reel is not polished enough, or there's some shots in there that aren't that great, or something of that nature. But if you want to get experience working on one of our shorts, so again, send me your reel, and I'll see if we've got anything coming up which could use a shot or two, and you can help out on one of the shorts, and that will help get you experience on a commercial project. Now, as far as internships are concerned, finding an internship is almost the same as finding a job. So let me just if I go to the blog, actually, let me just, before we quit, let me just share my screen. So if I share screen now, so let's go to share. So if I go back to the animation blog, and there we go, there's a button here called internships. So if I click on that, it will say 8 steps to find an animation internship. And you're going to see that the points here. This is a slightly older blog post. It's from 2017. That's obviously pre-pandemic and stuff has changed. So, you'll see at number 5, I wrote, start sending letters. And it's amazing how the world has changed, even in 4 years. What's a letter? No one sends a letter anymore. But basically, finding an internship is very, very similar to finding a job. You might think it's easier than finding a job. It's actually not. It's harder, because internships, by their very nature, aren't particularly useful to the company, and therefore there are fewer of them. And also there's a lot of pressure on companies to provide paid internships, which is even less useful to the company. So those are like hen's teeth. They're very, very scarce. But probably the problem there is a demo reel problem. So do send it over to me and I'll take a look. Okay, I think that's all we've got time for. Well, thank you for everybody who's been patiently listening. And it's been a real pleasure chatting with you. And do find me if you find me online. If you want to carry on the conversation privately, just send me an email. Let's see, am I still sharing? Just see if I'm still sharing or not. Yes, I am still sharing. So you can see my email address here at the blog, alex.williams1@pearson.com. I do reply to emails, and I will do my best to help you find your first job in the animation industry. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing, and then I think that is the end of today's talk. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening.
Thank you, Alex. And guys, we will be sharing also the recording, then if you want to see the webinar again. And for anything else, obviously, feel free to get in touch with Alex, as you said, with us anyway, with the admission team. Thank you very much, Alex, for your time today.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
So how can I help you become a professional animator? First of all, subscribe to my YouTube channel, get all my free stuff. Secondly, if you want to get started now, sign up for my course on animationprinters.org, or come study with me at Escape Studios, or sign up for the online MA in 3D animation at Bucks University.